What is cracking, guys? JP here again, bringing you another update of my 90-gallon reef tank. Today we're gonna talk about some good, some algae, and some changes. Let's start with the bad stuff actually. First thing is I was having some weird problems with my Hawkins Acanada. What I noticed is when I first got it, there was this weird tentacles. There are like two tentacles. They are like boring worms, like they bore inside a coral and live in there. During nighttime, I would turn on my flashlight and look around, and there was some weird splotches. They're not like STN where they're like the base is starting to turn white. They're more like this coloration of the skin. Instead of purple, or blue green, it was like, well, like pale circles. But it doesn't look like flatworm bites. They're not bites. They're just like the color is gone. And what I noticed is those worms, they're around those splotches. So I'll show you what they look like. So there are these worms right here. They're not vermetid. You can kind of see some of those. See those two tentacles? Those are the boring worms. They actually go into the coral and live into the coral. So you can kind of see that two tentacles right there? Yeah. So what I did is I removed the Hawkins, cut it up, and I actually fragged it, put it in this square frag square, and I left and cut off the boring worms, where they live, and I glued them up, put it together back into the tank, because I know Echinata or Hawkins can be a little iffy when you dip them. I didn't see any flatworms, I didn't see any pests, but I went to the coral, dissected it, and I actually saw the worm inside the skeleton. So hopefully that will stop the some weird splotches. There is still some healing going on. You can see that coral right there where it's kind of STNing. That's part of that's where I saved the splotches. So I'm not sure. There's some right there STNing a little bit from fragging, but everything else it's encrusting, which is good. And I can still see some new growth, which is good. At nighttime I can see the polyps coming out, which is good. So hopefully it will work out. Alright, I did move a few corals around. I used to have some mushroom right here, but I wanted to have some space, a nice open space. So I moved the mushroom right there. It used to be here. And then the other mushroom over here. So hopefully this is the orange green will match with that red green. I also have this frag plug right there. I tried to remove the frag plug, but it was pretty hard or glued in. But this used to be the Miami Hurricane Chalice, and you can kind of see where it got stung right there. The sweeper tentacles started stinging the fox flame, so that was the time for me to move it. So I moved it right there, and it kind of matches. I might move the GSP a little bit back to the rock without touching it, and have that mushroom a little bit to the back of the rock so that I'll have an open space. So it looks like it's red, green, and then maybe red. So we'll see. I like the open space, which is nice. I might move some corals in the future because everything is start to grow really crazy. Look at this fox flame where it's like every branch is so dense with each other, and all the new growth. And the branches start to grow more branches. You can see some coloration, which is good. And then my bird's nest right here, it started to grow really big, so I might need to either frag it or move some corals around. This guy, this tricolor valida, I'm not so impressed. It's not as purple. It's more like brown right now. I'm not sure why, but hopefully I might move that guy. I might put I don't know, this W yellow tips right there to put it over here, and then move the spatulata in the middle behind this orange or setosa, and move this bird's nest on top of on this spot because it started to encroach the lantana. So yeah, I might move some corals around. My next project, hopefully, is gonna move this big hammerhead, and I got some heads that are shaded. You can see those head right there. There's a head right there. They're just shaded. They're just miserable because they're not getting any sunlight. So because the other heads are out competing. Such huge head. I can't believe that this hammer, almost the height of the middle of the tank, it's like liking the high light with metal halides, which is crazy. And high flow too, you can really see that head right there is getting squished from the high flow. And then everything inside is moving from the high flow, which is a good thing, I guess. Torches are going nuts. Looks pretty good. My big hammers, very happy. All right, next with the algae. I have not vacuumed this sand bed since I started last year. When I first started, I used my old live rock from my 40-gallon to kind of seed this tank. As you can see here, it's a lot of more than basic stuff. I got some red algae. Now this is not your typical red algae. These are actually like hard. They're like they're not even blowing off the rock. So I just left them there. I also have some brown algae that are like encrusting, and I got coralline crusted all over the rocks. I have some green turf algae right there. They're kind of here and there in spots. Everything else looks pretty good. I don't have any more hair algae. I believe not much. There used to be one down up here. Yeah, there is one right there. You can see the algae right there. I got some bubble algae. They're more like one bubble at a time. So there's one right there. This little bubble guy. So they go in one bubble. They don't grow any more than that. And then either the coral and algae will encrust over them or they disappear. So I'm not sure what's going on, which is a good thing. So there's one bubble right here. There's one little bubble. One right there. I don't really mind it. It looks pretty good. Other algae wise, I do have cyanobacteria. You can see right there. I don't get any cyano in the other rocks. The only time I only get cyano is when I clean the pump and then put it in fresh pump. It's like freshly cleaned. There's no biofouling or anything. There's cyano right there in high flow or return jet, which is weird. And then I'm starting to get some weird brown algae right there. Just newly cleaned pump. So they usually go from brown, then red, and then green, and then coralline. Crazy. So, and then I have green film algae on my glass. I just cleaned this yesterday, and there's already some brown stuff start to gonna grow. But yeah. And I might need more fish though, probably. But someday, once I get this moved. Well, looks pretty good. Just daily maintenance, adding soda ash 15 ml every day. I keep my alkalinity about 8 to 8.5 using calc water. So yeah, My Tang is still not trained on eating nori sheets. Still scared of that sheet. Oh man. I never cleaned this sand bed. My conch is keeping it pretty good. Well, that should be it for the update. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time. Adios.